Everybody, my name is Danny Wells. Just enjoying a fizz stick, which is one of my most all-time favourite products. I've been drinking these for 11 years. B vitamin drinks. I used to have a nasty 8 cup of coffee a day habit, and you'd have like the high, and then you'd have the drop. But I've switched to these B vitamins. Absolutely beautiful. I'm having mine cold instead of hot, and it's lovely. So, a little bit about me and how I came across my business. So, going all the way back, because I've had my business for 11 years now. So going back in time, I had never actually heard of Arbonne. And I definitely didn't grow up as a child and teenager going, oh, when I'm an adult, I'm going to become an Arbonne consultant. I never even thought I'd even go into anything like sales. I actually trained in ophthalmology. So I worked for a popular high street opticians in the UK called Specsavers Opticians. And I absolutely loved what I did. I was one of those annoying employees that would literally skip to work. I was happy to be there. I was happy when I got like my 5 year badge for working there, my 10 year badge for working there. And I never imagined I'd do anything else. I was like, I'll be there until I retire. I absolutely loved my job. I loved helping people. I loved the clientele that would come in. I was not salesy at all. And I think that's why I was good at my job because I never saw myself as selling anything. I was always there to talk to people about what they needed, whether it was a new prescription, glasses, contact lenses, what their budgets were, what it was that they were interested in. And I genuinely cared about that person. And I do think that's why I was good at that job and why I'm good at this job because I'm not salesy at all. Not that salespeople are bad people, but like they have a bad rap, don't they? Of people that are all about themselves, all about what can I get. And I think when people are not like that, they're better at sales because they're not attached to the outcome. They're like just talking to somebody about options and they don't mind whether that person they talk to buys or not. They're not bothered. And that's where the good people come from. Anyway, I digress. So, what happened to us was me and my husband had 2 children at the time, and unfortunately, our second daughter had a stroke and a brain hemorrhage, and it literally came completely out of the blue. Like it was literally like the rug was pulled from beneath us. And the only way I can describe this period of time for us, because it was a traumatic time in terms of our daughter had a medical issue and she was in hospital. I had a year off work to be with her in hospital. It was an uncertain future. She was then diagnosed with cerebral palsy, and we were told that she would require 24/7 round the clock care, wouldn't walk, wouldn't talk, etc. Anyway, the only way I can describe this to people is like if you were working through the COVID times in 2020, where one day you're happy as Larry going to work, everything's all rosy, everything's good, you've got enough toilet roll, everything's amazing, and then literally overnight, lockdown hits, there's no toilet roll, there's no income coming in, you can't go to the food shops anymore. And you're literally like, one day it was fine and one day it's not. And that's what I mean by the rug from being pulled from beneath you. And if you could rewind when it came to COVID times and go, right, these are the things I would do differently. This is how I feel about Arbonne. When I tell people about this business, I'm like, I wish somebody had told me all these things because it would have made a difference when my daughter had her medical issues. It would have made our lifestyle differently. Like it wouldn't have been able to change the fact that she had a stroke and a brain hemorrhage and how insanely traumatic that was. But on top of that, we had the financial pressure of me not working for a year. My husband was working overtime in the week, plus weekends overtime. He has an autoimmune, and anyone with an autoimmune knows you shouldn't really be working all these extra hours. It's not good for yourself. So he was literally putting himself into an early grave. And I was watching this happen. It put strain on our marriage. It put strain on my relationship with our other daughter, who was healthy and at home. And she was literally passed from pillar to post. It was awful. It was such an awful period of time. And even though I had a year off work, I was still under the umbrella of Specsavers. And my boss basically rang me up and said, look, Danny, what are you doing? Are you coming back? And as much as I wanted to come back for me, for my own sense of purpose and who I am as a person, and because I enjoyed it, I also wanted to go back for the money, but I couldn't. I couldn't bring my daughter to work with me, and my daughter had to stay with me 24/7. She had seizures 3-4 times a week. We'd have to be rushed up in an ambulance. She had 4 or 5 appointments every single week. So it just didn't, there was no time in my life to go and work a job without my daughter. That it was an impossibility. So I had to say no. And we actually went on to benefits for a little bit where the government assists us and help us with money. And as grateful as what I am, I hated it. I hated it. I grew up in a council estate. My mum was 16 when she had me. My dad was in and out of prison. And I always said as a child, I would never, ever, ever be on state benefits. And there I was as a young adult on benefits. And there are people out there that genuinely do need that money, and that's what it's there for. It's there to help a small percentage of the population who genuinely need it. I felt like I didn't genuinely need it. I was like, I can work. I've got the physical ability to work. I've got the mental capacity to work, but my hands are tied behind my back because I'm literally taking my poorly daughter here, there, and everywhere to three different city hospitals. We were in Nottingham, we were in Leicester, we were in Loughborough, and it was a chaotic time. So we did go on to benefits, but I vowed I would get off them as quickly as I possibly could. So I was looking for something. I was actively looking for a way to make money, but my stipulations were it had to be around my daughter, it had to be something I could do from hospital. So I was basically looking for a laptop-based business. But the irony is I didn't have a laptop, I couldn't afford it, but I had a phone. So I was like, I need to work from my phone with my daughter, and my daughter needs to be my main priority. So it needs to be super flexible. So trying to find a job like this, it took 2 years. I did not find a job that existed. I found things that existed where they required loads of money. They were like, oh yeah, you can invest in stocks and shares, but I didn't have the money to do that. And they were like, you could buy property. I didn't have the money to do that. They were like, you could write a book and sell it on Kindle version on Amazon, but I didn't have the skills to do that. So there was things available, but I felt like I couldn't achieve that. So after 2 years of literally looking, scouring, getting more and more into debt, and by this point we'd got 40 grand into debt, and that's not because we were living the life of Riley. That was trying to pay our bills. And there was like our bills were like here and the money coming in was like here. So there was always a gap. We'd literally get paid, or my husband would get paid, we'd get our benefits, they'd last 2 weeks. And then the second 2 weeks of the month, there was no heating going on. Food was not good. I'm surprised my girls, they're now teenagers, like, oh, they're not really unhealthy. They are super healthy, but I'm surprised that they're not because of the money situation we had with food. So after 2 years, I actually was approached about Arbonne from somebody I was in the air cadets with from my previous life. So from my teenage life, I was in the air cadets with this girl called Emma. She reached out to me, basically said, I can see you having a really shitty situation. Let me tell you about this franchise that I've got involved with. It's from Switzerland. It's been around for 45 years and it's a really great company. And you'll be able to, if you decide that you're going to do it, you'll be able to do it flexibly. And she was like, meet me for a coffee, or we can talk on the phone or online and I'll tell you a bit about it. I was like, let's talk about it tomorrow. We booked in a slot and that was it. That's how I found out about Arbonne. So I met my friend Emma to hear all about her Arbonne business, and this is how she explained it to me. So I'm going to explain it to you in the same way that she explained it to me. She did not have a massive whiteboard though. She had this tiny little bit of napkin paper, like tissue paper, tiny little bit of napkin paper, and she basically explained it to me, and my eyes lit up. I was like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely something that I could do. I was like, I don't have many skills, but I absolutely could do that. I was like, anyone could do this. And she was like, exactly. So basically, she said, if you get involved with Arbonne, you basically buy the rights to your own shop. But it's not a shop that people walk into, it's an online shop. So she was like, in your case, it'd be Danny Wells at arbonne.com. I was like, great. So there's two ways you get paid in Arbonne. There's two parts to Arbonne. And the first way is called direct sales, so DS for short. Really simple. She was like, basically, Arbonne make over 500 products and they're all in the health and wellness sector. So things like skincare, cosmetics, nutrition, everyday essentials like sun cream, toothpaste, deodorant, hair care, etc., etc. Things that people use on a daily basis. She was like, they make these products, and because they don't sell them in a shop, they basically cut out 80% of what the price should be. So the price is reduced down about 80% because they're not being sold in a shop. So when products are sold in a shop, and I know this from working at Specsavers, we would sell our frames, our lenses for like 200 to 500 pounds. I know they cost pence to make. Obviously, I know you've got to pay for the staff, the store, the electricity, and the insurances, the advertising. I do know all that, but that is what bumps the price up 80%. So anything you buy from a shop, you think 80% of that, what you're paying for, is just the middle process. It's not the actual product. So the founder of this company, Petter Mork, who was an amazing botanist from Norway, he set up the first company in the 1970s. So it actually launched in 1980 to create clean skincare, cosmetics, nutrition, personal care products that would not be sold in a shop. They would be affordable products. Anyway, I digress. So Arbonne make these products. So direct sales is where a customer comes to you and they buy that product and they buy it direct from you and you get paid 35%. So basically, if they've gone onto your website and they've spent £100, for example, they pay directly onto the website, so you don't deal with any money. It gets shipped straight to their door, and it's literally like farm to table. It's literally like going to the farmer buying your carrots, and then you take them home. You've cut out that whole middle process. So if you imagine if you buy carrots from the supermarket, how much you pay for them, they actually probably would cost 10p, 15p if you got them directly from the farm. So this is what I'm saying about the Arbonne cut out that middle process. So the products are shipped straight to them, and Arbonne will pay you the following week 35%. So they will pay you, in this scenario, £35. Okay. So imagine you have 10 customers and the total turnover in your business is £1,000. You would get paid £350 that week. This is just based on everyone spending 100. People can spend what they want. I'm just keeping it really simple. So direct sales is super easy to understand. Now, when I started this business, the first thing that I did was I went onto the website and I bought the kids' hair and body wash because both my children at the time had really bad eczema, really bad skin, and we went back and forth to the GP trying to get that sorted. And the GP would prescribe products, but they would never, it never actually solved the problem. They would be up in the night, like scratching, red raw, bleeding, awful. So when I bought my franchise, although Arbonne don't stipulate you have to buy any products, I was like, if I'm going to recommend this brand and talk to people about this company, I want to be at least using at least one item from the company. So I wanted to have authenticity and integrity. So I bought the kids' hair and body wash. Now, I'm going to just be really honest with you. I about fell off my chair when I saw the price of it because it was about £20 for one bottle of kids' hair and body wash. And I was hesitant. So I spoke to the girl that introduced me and I was like, I don't even spend £20 on a takeaway. Like we're so short on money. That is just an insane amount of money. I was like, I don't think I even spend that a week on food. Actually, maybe that was about a week, about maybe just a little bit more than that on a week's worth of food shopping. This is going back 11 years ago. And she basically said to me, look, buy it because Arbonne do a 90-day money back guarantee. So if it doesn't work, within 3 months, you can actually send like whatever's left in the bottle, send it back and get a full refund. And I was like, oh, I was like, I've actually spent a lot of money on lots of different products for my kids. Nothing's worked. They're just sat in a drawer because they never actually worked. I spent way more than £20 on all these bits and bobs. And she said to me, if it works, is it worth it? And anyone that's got kids or pets will know, absolutely. If there's a problem and you've potentially got the solution, like money's no object in that scenario, you're like, absolutely. So I bought it, and then what happened was within 3 days, my kid's skin had cleared up and it was very noticeable in their face. And I was on the school run, and a mum that was there didn't really know her that well. So she kind of was a stranger, but enough, and she knew me enough to come over to me in the playground. She was like, oh, I noticed that their skin's cleared up. What are you using? And obviously, I was brand new in Arbonne, so I didn't really know what I was talking about. So I said something along the lines of, oh, I've got this franchise with Arbonne. The company's from Switzerland. Obviously, nice things come from Switzerland, chocolates, watches. And I said, and they are vegan. They're all vegan products. They're gluten-free. It's a B corporation. There's no nasties. They ban over 2,000 ingredients. I think I was like talking something like that. And I said, but they you can't actually buy these products anywhere. They're not sold in shops. You can't even buy them online. The only way you can buy these products from Arbonne is through a representative. They have to have bought their own website. But I've just bought one a few days ago. And she was like, great, send me your website link when you get home and I'll go on an order. I was like, great. So she went home and literally, I think I must have been like back at home having my fizz stick. Within 5 minutes, I had a ping on my phone to say that somebody had placed, and it was her, had placed an order on my website. And she'd bought some of the bits and bobs as well, including the kids' hair and body wash. And my commission for that was £12.50. Now, I know that my husband thought this was hilarious. I know that that's not a lot of money, but I was like, wow, like I've nearly broken even. I've only been in business for like 4 days. Most businesses take like 2 to 3 years to break even. So I was pretty impressed with myself. But then what happened was, her kid's skin cleared up. And in a couple of days, her neighbour, who I didn't know, this was a stranger to me, her neighbour and her were having this conversation about these products. And the neighbour got my website link from our mutual friend and ordered these products. So I was at home and I got this notification to say that this person, I looked at the name, I was like, I don't know who that person is, had ordered a load of products and I'd got paid for that. I think I got paid like £30 for that. And I was like, who is this person? And I soon figured out who it was. And even though that was a stranger, I then messaged her which I do with every stranger that orders from my website. Still now, 11 years on, I messaged her. I was like, "Hi, my name is Danny. Our mutual friend so and so has obviously passed on my website. Thank you so much. Let me know when your products arrive, and I'll talk you through how to use them." And we became friends. And then what happened was she told her work colleague who ordered products, another stranger from my website, who I then reached out to. And then she told her sister in Australia. And then I had people in Australia ordering off my website. So I literally was going to bed, waking up in the morning with like 7 notifications on my phone of these strangers ordering products off my website. And I then spent the time messaging them all, introducing myself, becoming friends with them. But this is basically so my friend Emma was telling me about. So the network marketing side, I'm going to go into next. So the network marketing side is optional, and this is where you teach and train other people to run their own business like I have. So once you've got a couple of customers and you kind of have learned the gist of what's going on, you know what's happening, you then can feel confident to talk to other people about setting up their own business. So if that happens, they get their own shop and their website is named after them. So they now don't shop on your website, they shop from their own website, and they get paid 35% of commissions every single week. Now, what Arbonne do here is they pay you for training up other people. So have you ever, I'm trying to think of an example, have you ever referred somebody? Have you ever, did Uber do this? I'm not sure if Uber do this, where if you use Uber, you obviously use that service, but if you refer a friend, that friend gets something, but you also get a kickback as well because you recommended somebody else to use it. So that's kind of like how Arbonne works. So if you recommend a friend and they want to do this business and you teach and train them, they get paid their full commission, same way you do. But Arbonne give you a kickback. Arbonne pay you as well for teaching and training them, but they actually pay you to teach and train your whole team. So I'm gonna talk about how that works. So if you decide to help 5 people learn how to do Arbonne and you teach and train them, and if you're not sure what to do, we do actually have mentors. So if you join my team, for example, I would mentor and help everybody. So if you're not sure, then you'd come to me and I would help you with that. And I put on like weekly team trainings, weekly incentives, so you're not on your own. But let's say you're helping 5 people run their business, and then you're working with them and you help them to teach 5 people each as well. So if they teach 5 people each as well, you've now got 25 more people in your network. So I want you to think about this like you've got 5 children. So you've decided to have 5 children and you're heavily invested into teaching those 5 children how to live life. And then they decide to have 5 children each as well. So you've now got 25 grandchildren. So if this is your family tree, you've got 30 members in your family or team. So 5 children, 25 grandchildren. Everyone just has 5 each. And then if your grandchildren decide to have 5 children each, you've now got 125 great grandchildren within your team. I'm just going to do this one more time, otherwise I'll run out of board space. So everyone else has 5 children each, that's 625. So if this was your family tree, if this was your team, you've got 5 children, 25 grandchildren, so that's 30. So add them together, that's 30. Add your great-grandchildren and add your great-great-grandchildren. In total, in your family, you've got 780 family members or team members, okay? So if everybody is doing what you're doing with your direct sales and they're helping a couple, say they're helping like 2 customers a month, obviously there's no limit, you can help as many customers as you want, but let's just keep it really simple. So everyone's helping 2 customers a month and their businesses turn over £100 each, just for simplicity. The total turnover running through your business is £78,000 of turnover. So Arbonne pay everybody their correct commissions in the same way that they pay you for your weekly commissions. So everyone gets paid every week their commissions. But every month Arbonne looks at your total turnover and they're like, right, total turnover is £78,000 and they pay you a percentage of that. The percentage of that is between 1% and 18%. Depending on your experience in Arbonne. So the more experienced you get, the bigger your business becomes, the higher up your percentage, you get a pay rise basically. So there's 4 levels of promotion in Arbonne, and as you go through the promotional levels, you get a pay rise. But just to keep this maths super simple, let's just go somewhere in the middle and say 10% is what you're going to earn. So 10% of £78,000 for your monthly paycheck is £7,800. That's your monthly paycheck and you get paid weekly from your customer orders as well. So when my friend drew this out on a napkin, I was like, oh my gosh. And then she said to me, look, if I'm going to coach and train and teach you, I'm not looking for people that want an easy ride. I'm not looking for people that want to get an account, sit on their ass and literally do nothing. She goes, I'm only looking for people that actually are willing to roll their sleeves up. And granted, it's quite simple work and all the training is provided, but you've still got to actually do something. She goes, I'm not looking for lazy people. I'm not looking for people that are into like get rich quick schemes. She goes, I just want people that are actually going to build a customer base here and look after their customers. She goes, you don't need many customers, just a handful of customers who love you, who love what you recommend, who know that you are always updated on your training, who can ask you like, oh, what would you recommend for this, who refer friends to you because they love what you do. So you need to be able to learn to be good at this. You don't have to be good to start, but you have to learn to be good, and all the trainers provide us. So I need you to, if you're going to do it, I need you to promise me you're going to commit to the weekly training, which is half an hour every week, and you can join that live on Zoom on a Monday night or watch it on recording. I was like, I promise, yes. And she said, and if you're going to teach and train people, you look after them. You don't just sign somebody up and then you disappear the next day and they're like left like, I don't know what I'm doing. She goes, you look after these people like they're your family. Now what happens is you're most invested with your children. Your grandchildren are mostly looked after by your children. So you take a little bit of a step back here. Now, I'm not saying you disappear from your grandchildren's lives, like you're present in their lives, but your children are their team leader, okay? So she goes, you mostly look after your 5 children, and then you tell them to look after their 5 children, and you're around, you're there if they need you, you're there if their leader's poorly, you would step in. She goes, but you have less and less involvement with, say, like your great-great-grandchildren. So they know who you are, they know you're available for help, but they've got all these people in their team leadership line helping them. And she goes, but you have to make sure you're always there for your children, for your main people that you introduce, your people that you sponsor. And I was like, absolutely, yes, I will be. So when she was telling me about this business, she was like, it's so simple. All you've got to do is 2 things. Commit to learning to building up a customer base and get paid every week for that. And then the second thing is to teach and train people and commit to just helping support them. She goes, it's very part-time. You could do 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, and it would be absolutely okay. I was like, I'm in. I'm absolutely in. There was no hesitation from me. I just loved the idea of this. And for me, it's been 11 years now. And my highest paycheck for the month with Arbonne has been £25,000. And my highest paycheck for the week on my weekly commissions was about £1,500. So imagine getting that every single week. And I just love that all the training is provided. I love that it's available for anybody to take part in. Oh, and one other thing that the girl said, she said there's a Chinese proverb that says, if you find something of value, it is your obligation, your duty to share it with other people. So I took that and I was like, I'm going to share this information with everybody, and it's up to them if they want to do it or not. Like if they don't need this, if they're already invested with stocks and shares and property and they've got money coming in every single day into their life, and if their main job was to be gone or they had a medical injury that meant they couldn't work for 12 months, it doesn't matter because they've got money coming in every day from other avenues like stocks and shares and properties, etc. And I've told people about this and they're like, I don't need this because I've got plenty of money coming in from different sources. I've got private healthcare and I've got all the confidence that I need. I've got all the friends that I need. And they're literally like, I can't see that there's anything for me in this. I'm like, that's absolutely fine. My obligation is just to share this and let people decide. But 99.99% of people, they need something that this business offers. They need money coming in a residual form like Arbonne does, because they think if my main job was to go or my partner's job was to go, what have I got? And the amount of women that do this, because they're like, if I want to leave my partner or my partner leaves me, I'm in the shit basically, because unless I go into benefits and get a council house, which a lot of people don't want to do, they're like, what have I got? And a lot of people are trapped in relationships that they don't want to be in because they're scared that if they step outside of that, they're not going to be able to function. They're not going to be able to live properly. So they stay in these miserable situations because money ties them back. They're like, if I won the lottery, I'd leave. Well, this is your lottery ticket, basically. Yes, you've got to roll your sleeves up. Yes, you've got to work, but it means that you've got that money coming in and it gives you choices. And not only that, it gives you freedom as well, because a lot of jobs can pay really well. Like Arbonne pays well, other jobs pay well, but Arbonne's part-time. So it means you've got the flexibility. So for me, we've now gone on to have 2 more children. So we've got 4 children and we are so present in their lives. I'm here every morning when they go to school. I'm here every day when they get back from school. I'm here for every half term, every summer holiday, every assembly, every parents' day, everything they have mum and dad at. And that's because this business pays, but it gives you time as well. So if you're looking for ways to make time, this is it. It also gives you community and connection. So although you're your own boss, you're never by yourself. So there's always people around, either in person or online. There's all the free support available to you. And everyone's a cheerleader in this team. So everyone's just like, yeah, that's great. And here's some tips, here's some ideas. And it's just truly the biggest blessing that people can have in their lives. It really is absolutely extraordinary. So if you want to know a little bit more about in detail about the ingredients and about what products we've got, why they're a cut above everything else, if you want the details, because I've skimmed over, I've got another video that's going to go into much more detail. Good evening, everybody. I have just made Lucy co-host. I hope that's okay, just so you can mute anybody if I can't see while I'm sharing the slides. So my name is Danni Wells, and I am so excited to be here and share a little bit about my Arbonne journey with you all. I have got some slides, but before I begin going through the slides and explaining what Arbonne is, I thought I'd just explain a little bit about my story and how I actually came across Arbonne. So basically, I have had my Arbonne business for 11 years now. But previously to that, I actually was trained in ophthalmology. So I used to work for Specsavers Opticians. Anyone here from the UK, if you've heard of Specsavers, just pop it in the chat. Let me know. I still really rate them, even though I don't work for them anymore. I'm a massive advocate for them. So I was working at Specsavers, absolutely loving my life. I trained in ophthalmology. I would skip to work. I was literally that annoying person that loved what she did and thought I would retire with the company. And what happened was, me and my husband had two children at the time. And unfortunately, our second daughter had a stroke and a brain hemorrhage, and it came completely out the blue. Literally, rug was pulled from beneath us. 1 minute I'm working, paying the bills, everything's rosy. The next minute I'm in hospital, living there with my daughter who's extremely unwell. And basically, I had a year off work to be with her. Most of that time was unpaid, and struggled financially massively, because I don't know if anyone's ever had this. And the most similar thing I can bring it back to is like when COVID hit, and people that were self-employed or going about their business literally overnight were told, oh, by the way, you can't work anymore, you can't earn any money. Like, that was how it felt for us going back 14 years ago when this happened. So my husband was working overtime, but the problem was, he has an autoimmune, so he's diagnosed with ME, and so suffers massively with like chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. And somebody that suffers with any kind of autoimmune shouldn't be doing overtime. And he was doing all this overtime to try and bring in this lost income from my income going. And I could see he was basically putting himself into an early grave. So picture our life back then, 11 years ago. We had no money coming in, apart from my husband's, but it wasn't enough to pay the bills. I was back and forth in and out of hospital with my daughter, because even when she was discharged, she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So that meant that she had countless different hospital appointments at different cities, different towns. And it was just a really, really dark time in our life. So I actually put on Facebook one day a massive like, I was like moaning, basically. I was like, it's not fair. My husband's is so poorly. He was doing all this extra work. He never has dinner together with us as a family, because he leaves for the house before they wake up. He gets back when they're in bed. He's working the weekends. And I think I said something like, I'm a good person. I've always worked since I could do a paper round. I've never not worked. And we've got bailiffs knocking on the door. Like, you can imagine, like, this rant on Facebook. And it was like, it was a massive cry for help, basically. And somebody that I kind of knew a little bit when I was in the Air Cadets as a teenager, because I wanted to be in the RAF when I was younger. So I joined the Air Cadets. I'd made friends with this girl, and we were Facebook friends, but we didn't really know each other that well. She sent me a message, and she was like, oh, hi, Danni. I can see you having like a really rough time at the minute. I've actually got this business that I've just started. It's like a franchise. It's called Arbonne. I'd love to tell you a bit more about it. I'd never heard of it, but I was completely open. I was so desperate. I was like, I'm open to hearing about anything. I met her the next day, and she literally told me about Arbonne in 3 minutes. I feel like I can't do that. I can't tell you. I don't know how she did it, but I can't tell you about Arbonne in 3 minutes, but I'm going to try and do it in 20 minutes. And I've got some slides just to try and keep me on track. But basically what she said to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this exists. I can do this. I absolutely can learn. All the training was free. I was like, I already eat, I drink, and I shower. I'm already using things that Arbonne make. And instead of spending money in Morrison's on these products, which is where I bought all my makeup from, my sun cream, my toothpaste, deodorant, when we did the weekly food shop, the kids' hair and body wash went in the trolley. I was like, instead of giving Morrison's all this money on personal care products, I can buy it from myself and it's a tax deductible expense. And then I can review them. I'm good at saying reviews. I'll recommend something that I've seen on Netflix and tell everybody about it. I can do exactly the same with these products, share a review about them. And then if somebody wants to buy based on my recommendation, I get paid for it. And she was like, yeah. I was like, I'm in. I literally was like, nobody had come up to me. The period of time from my daughter having her stroke to starting Arbonne was 2 years. Nobody had come up to me in that 2 years and offered me anything, even like if I was to say Arbonne was at a 100, no one had even offered me like a number 10 in that time. I was like, yes. I will kiss your feet. How do I sign up? I was so excited to actually have a potential solution. So I jumped in and I joined, and it has literally been the best decision for me. So I'm going to try and explain to you what she explained to me, but not in 3 minutes, unfortunately. I wish that I could. I really do. So the first thing that she told me about was about the story about Arbonne. So Arbonne was actually founded. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see this. Okay. Okay, so Arbonne was actually founded by a man called Peter Mork, and I love this story. So I'm all about family businesses, a family heritage, history, legacy. I love it. So basically, Peter Mork was a man that had actually been raised by a single mum, and she was working 3 jobs just to put food on the table for her 4 children. And Petter watched this as a child, and this influenced him starting Arbonne as an adult. So he watched his mum literally no time, constantly working just to try and fend for her family. And obviously, it set a spark off in him because he must have thought, when I'm older, I want to do something that is going to empower women to be able to be at home with their children and work. Now, I will say a little disclaimer here. Arbonne is not just for women. We have loads of men that are very successful in Arbonne, but this was just his little spark that was set in him when he was younger. So he actually went on to become a botanist, which is somebody that works with plants and creates formulas. And he worked for a company that was very, very well known. If I say it, you'll probably have heard about it. However, this company is actually back and forth being dragged through the courts because they put a lot of ingredients into their products that they know cause long-term health problems for people. Now, going back to the 60s when Petter was working, he had one of the highest paying jobs working for this company, creating formulations. He knew what was going on here and he was not for it at all. He was very anti the the company being extremely profit driven and not really caring about people. So with his giant heart, he actually decided to walk away from one of the most highest paying jobs that you could have had at the time, and decided to set up his own business and create one of the first companies, Arbonne, which creates clean products that actually help people, that actually make a difference and don't cause long-term health problems for people. So can you imagine like standing out on that skinny branch and doing this and declaring that your products are going to be, they're going to be vegan? In the 60s and 70s, no one even had heard of vegan. He was like, they're going to be gluten-free, they're going to be plant-based, they're going to be science-driven, they're going to work, and they're going to make a real big difference to people. And he did that. He stepped out there and he created this incredible company, which a lot of us here absolutely is in our hearts now. We love everything about Arbonne. So his 3 main focuses were: the company is going to be clean, it's going to be conscious, and it's going to be connected. And I love this about connected because we're in an age now where AI is taking over. But back when he first started Arbonne, AI, no, I don't think anyone even ever heard of AI, but he was so forward thinking that he was like, I'm not going to sell my products in a shop, because when products are sold through the shop route, we've all been there. We've walked into Superdrug or Boots, we've picked up an item from the shelf, we've gone to the till and paid for it, and there's been no connection there. Whereas when we've actually spoke to somebody, if you've ever gone to a car garage and you've spoke to a car salesperson and they are there to assist you and they're like, right, what are you looking for? And you tell them, they're like, have you got any preferences? And you tell them, they're there, they're connected to you and what you need with that car, and they hopefully sell you the car that you actually need. So Petter was like, we're not going to sell our products through the shop route because there's no connection there. And also, when products are sold through the shop route, they have to go up like 80% in price to pay for the whole middle process, which I'll talk about in a few moments.
So when somebody actually buys a product from Arbonne, so for example, when my customers come to me, a lot of the time it's through referrals. So if I have a friend, Sue, and Sue says to her friend Sally, you've got to go and speak to Danny. She's got these amazing products for babies, like this baby care range. It's amazing. You've got to go and speak to her. And then Sally comes to me and she says, oh, our mutual friend Sue recommended us. I roll out the red carpet. So I'm literally like, tell me everything that you're looking for. Tell me all about yourself. Tell me about your job. Tell me about your animals. Tell me about your children. Tell me what's going on. And that person becomes my friend. And I care deeply about that person. So all of my customers, which majority of the time are referrals, I'm invested in them as a human being. And if they decide to order products from my website, I check in with them a couple of days later. Did your products arrive okay? Do you know how to use them? No, let me go through the skincare system. Let me talk you through it all. And then I'll check in with them again a few weeks later. Did you have any more questions? How are you getting on with everything? I make sure that when it's their birthday, they get a personalized message from me. They get a little Christmas card from me that's handwritten. So this connection feeds through all of us that are Arbonne consultants. We care deeply about our customers. We care deeply about our team members. And this is what Petter wanted. He wanted there to be connection with his Arbonne company. So moving on to wellness, because when my friend was first telling me about this potential thing that I could do 11 years ago, when she was first explaining to me the concept about making reviews, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I hope it's not like tables that we're selling, because I have a table, I do, and I love it, but I only have one and I only need one, don't need any more tables. So if I'm going to build a customer base, I don't really want it to be tables, because people only tend to buy one in a lifetime, maybe two in a lifetime. So from a business point of view, it wasn't a very smart business idea. But when she said the products that we have, the products that Arbonne make are wellness products, I was like, oh my gosh, everybody I know uses something like toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, sun cream, makeup, possibly, hair care, possibly, skincare, possibly. Everybody eats and drinks. We have nutrition, we have supplements. I was like, oh, this is amazing, because I know even if I only spoke to, say, 10 people about what I have to offer, they all know at least one person each that is going to want to buy from me based on what I have to sell. And the other thing that I love about this is it's all online. So your business is running 24/7. When you have a traditional business, you might have to get up early to open up the shop at 9 o'clock in the morning, take a lunch break, and then close the shop at 5 o'clock. And you work out how many hours you've got there to actually serve customers. Whereas when you've got an online business, people are ordering from your app, from your website 24/7, which is amazing. I'm sat here now and I've been talking to you guys for 10 minutes and I can see my phone flashing. I get a notification when an order's gone through my website, and I've already had multiple notifications that people are ordering. It's probably people from Australia, because they're started to wake up as we're starting to go to sleep in the UK, which is what happens. You wake up in the morning and you look on your phone and you've had multiple notifications. Say people in New Zealand and Australia have been buying their sun cream while you've been asleep, and you've earned money, which is just, it blows my mind. So when I think this is the point where I said to my friend, I was like, I'm in. Yeah, sounds brilliant. Great. So Arbonne does have so many products. There is literally something for everybody. And what I absolutely love about the Arbonne products is they are 100% what they should be. So for example, when I wasn't using Arbonne products, I had a bit of a problem going on in my life. And that was that my two children at the time had really bad eczema. They had really sore skin. And I was going to Morrison's every week, doing my food shop and putting in hair and body wash for kids into my shopping trolley, thinking nothing of it. Would take my two children to the GPs and say to them, look, their skin is so like red, raw and itchy. They're up in the night, crying, they're bleeding. And the GP would prescribe like steroids and ointments, and basically nothing ever worked. Nothing worked long term anyway. It might go for a few days and it would come back. When I started learning about Arbonne, with all the free training, I learned about something called mineral oil, which I had never heard of. So basically, when I was buying my kids' hair and body wash, for the bottle was about like 99p, so let's say a pound, or a dollar. About 3% of that bottle was the ingredients it was supposed to be. But the rest of the bottle had been watered down in something called mineral oil. And what this is, when you've got the oil rigs in the sea and you've got people that extract the crude oil from the ground, they pull that oil up and that is used for fuel in cars. but there's a part of it, the top part, they scrape off, and that top part, that scum at the top is basically deemed not good enough for fuel. So just like take a second to like register that. This top part, this byproduct is not good enough for fuel. So the oil rigs are left with gallons and gallons and gallons of this stuff, which is called mineral oil. So they're like, well, what are we going to do with all this mineral oil? And they're not allowed to dispose of it on the environment because it's environmentally harmful. They're not allowed to sell it to the food and drinks industry. So they're like, what are we going to do? So what they do is they sell it for pence, for gallons and gallons of this stuff to the cosmetics industry and the skincare industry. So when I was buying my kids' hair and body wash, thinking, oh, it's only £1 every week, putting one of these in the trolley, most of this bottle was mineral oil. So I'm literally lathering my kids in one of the most harmful things that you can put on your skin and wondering why I'm back and forth at the GPs with them having eczema. Like now, I realize that now, but at the time I just never connected it. And once I started to learn about mineral oil, I started to notice that it was in everything. If you've ever had makeup slide off your face, mineral oil. If you've ever put hand cream on and your hands are like greasy and you're like wiping it, mineral oil. If you've ever had like prickly heat from sun cream, mineral oil. If you go and have a look, most products, obviously not from Arbonne, but most products have got mineral oil in. And it's so sneaky because companies, they know how bad it is and they actually disguise it under about 60 different names. You can Google it, all the different names it has, vile. So what I loved about Arbonne is when I got my products, so this is actually a hand cream, but let's just pretend it's the kids' hair and body wash because that was the first product that I used. I literally took out a tiny amount. So again, this is the hand cream, so only a tiny amount needed. But when it came to the kids' hair and body wash, the tiniest little amount, and it bathed and did the hair of both my children. And the one bottle of kids' hair and body wash lasted me nearly a year. So although when I initially bought it, it did cost me more than £1. It cost me significantly more than £1. And I was very hesitant. I was very much like, oh, it's a lot more than I'm used to spending. I think it was £20. So when you're used to spending £1 and then you go to 20, that's a big jump. And I was like, oh, I'm a bit nervous about this. And the girl that introduced me to the business said to me, look, Arbonne offer a 90-day money-back guarantee for any of their customers, their PCs, if they don't get on with their products. Even if you've used the product, if you don't get the results that you're hoping for, you can send the empty packaging back and get a full refund. And when she said that, I just thought if that company's willing to do that, I'm willing to take a chance. And the other thing she said to me was, if it works, like put a price on if it worked. And I was like, well, I'd pay more than that. I'd pay quadruple that if it works. So I did buy the kids' hair and body wash and I was nervous, but it did work within days. And that one bottle lasted me a year. So when I actually worked it out and I was like, okay, so I paid £20 for one product for a year versus going to the supermarket every week and spending £1, that's 52 bottles a year, £52 a year, not to mention the environmental impact on all those 52 bottles versus Arbonne's recyclable materials using the TerraCycle. I was like, it's an absolute no-brainer. And this is what I've learned with these products is they don't have any fillers, so they last. So it's like buying in bulk, which is absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to go back to my slides. So the concept of Arbonne is absolutely brilliant. It's like farm to table. So the products are made at the manufacturers, and then your customer will go onto your app/website, and they will order the products and they will get delivered straight to their door. And I love that because I love going to the farm shop and going to buy my potatoes, and I knew they were there, that's where they were grown. I've picked them up, I've brought them home, I'm the end consumer, and I'm going to make them. Whereas what happens when you buy products from the shop, and I'm going to use my Specsavers experience, but they are certainly not the only retailer that do this. When you buy something from a shop like an optician's and you pick up your glasses or whatever it is, clothes, coffee from the coffee shop, doesn't matter. You've walked into a shop, you've picked it up as the end consumer, they whack up that price 80%. So when I would sell glasses in the opticians for say £200, I knew they cost pence to make. The lenses cost pence, the frames cost pence. I mean, I know they've got to pay for the staff and the overheads and the marketing and the advertising. I know that, but who's paying for it? You, the customer. The customer pays for all that. It's insane. So when Petta's idea was, we're just going to cut that whole process out. We're literally going to make the products and ship them straight to the end consumer and not pay for advertising, not pay for marketing, not pay for retailers, not pay for warehouse. Like, it just is the most incredible concept. And I know for me, when I'm ordering my products, I love knowing that they're made and they're shipped to me, which is fantastic. And it saves Arbonne, oh my gosh, I can't even begin to tell you how much money it saves Arbonne, which is why they can use all that money that they save and give people like myself and other consultants a commission based on our referrals. So if you've ever referred anything like HelloFresh food boxes, refer a friend and you get, I don't know what it is now, but £50 off your next 4 boxes or something, or Sky TV, refer a friend and you get £50 off your next bill. Like, companies do referrals, like it's not an unusual thing, but Arbonne only do this. They don't do it as well as advertising like Sky and HelloFresh, just using them as an example. So they save so much money. And then if we refer somebody to our products, Arbonne pay us the following week, which I absolutely love. And it couldn't be any more simple. Most people are shopping online. I say everybody because I do know a few people of the older generation that still choose not to. However, most people are shopping online. Most people are picking up their phone, they're seeing an advert on Instagram and thinking, oh, that looks good, clicking shop now, order, pay by Apple Pay, delivered to their door the next day. Like, this is a concept that we're all very familiar with now. So why not have people buy from you? Why not have your own Arbonne app that people are clicking on, possibly 24/7, and ordering products from you, and you're getting pings like every few minutes saying someone's placed an order, someone's placed an order. It's brilliant. And you get paid the following week. So when I first started this business, I'm going to tell you how this actually worked for me. So a real story. When I first started the business, I bought the kids home body wash. Just gonna have a sip of my matcha. Has anyone tried the Arbonne matcha yet? I love it. The only thing is you can't have matcha from anywhere else because it's subpar compared to Arbonne's matcha. That's the only thing about it. So when I first started this business, I got the kids hair and body wash, and within days, the results of my 2 children were that staggering that I was on the school run, and a couple of the mums that I did know but didn't know really well collared me, and they were like, Danny, what's going on with their, because they used to have it on their face. They're like, what's going on with their skin? Like, the difference. And I was brand new in Arbonne, so I think I said something like, oh, it's my new franchise from Switzerland and they do clean products, over 500. And it's farm to table, and they don't sell in a shop. I think I said something like that. I obviously didn't really know what I was talking about in the beginning, but it was enough. It was enough. And one of the mums said, oh, well, if it's worked for you, I'm gonna give it a go, this kids hair and body wash. So if they don't sell in a shop, how do I buy it? I was like, oh, you cannot buy Arbonne anywhere. You can only buy it if you know a representative. And I am now a representative. So this was like how I was talking at the time. And she was like, great, send me your website, send me your link, and I'll order it when I get home. I was like, okay. So I sent her my link, and literally, I think I'd only been home for like 20 minutes, and I was sat having a fizz stick and had a ping on my phone, and she'd gone on and she'd ordered this from my website, and I got paid for that. And I was like, oh wow, I got paid for that referral. That's amazing. Like, oh, hope it works. It did work, and she was absolutely thrilled. And then what happened was, she told her next door neighbor who also had the same problems. And this next door neighbor, who was a complete stranger to me, went on my website link and ordered this product. And so this happened a few days later. I had another ping on my phone, and I was like, oh, I don't know who that is. Like, complete strangers just ordered products off my website. Did a little bit of investigating, and I realized my friend had referred me to her neighbor, and I was paid for that. And I was thinking, do you know what? Isn't it funny? Because I had this like initial thought when I first started Arbonne that I don't know enough people, but it's quite clear to me that one person can refer you to their whole network, and you can grow a multi-million-dollar business without actually knowing that many people. Like, this is amazing. It's like the word of mouth phenomenon. Like, I'm guessing most people here are on Facebook and they didn't actually know Mark Zuckerberg. Like, it is how the word of mouth goes. So I then messaged this stranger, thank you so much for ordering from my website, I'm really grateful, and became friends with her. And then she has a sister in Australia. I told her sister about this product, and she then ordered products off my website. So my first customer abroad, and then I got this ping, and I'd earned money in my sleep, and I was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine if this like carries on building this way. And that was how my business started to grow initially. So I had one kind of acquaintance from the school run, and then she told her neighbor, and she told her sister in Australia. And that was starting to grow then, that I'd had these results with the products. Well, my children had the results with the products, and then people were starting to see, and then they were telling people, and they were telling people, and then all of a sudden I had all this energy, and people were like, where's all this energy come from? Like, you're normally really like shoulders down, really lethargic, really like low in confidence. And now all of a sudden you're walking everywhere with your shoulders back, your hair looks great, your skin looks great. And I was like, oh, it's the fizz sticks. Let me know in the chat if you've ever tried the fizz stick drinks, which I absolutely love. As soon as I started to tell people about my energy, they were like, where do I get these fizz sticks from? So that was kind of like how my business started to grow in the early days, in the beginning. So just going to go past these because that's how it grows. Right. So where do you see yourself? So there's 4 ways that you can get involved with Arbonne. So number 1 is to just be a retail client. Really simple. It's like ordering off Amazon. It's so straightforward. You go onto the consultant that you know, their website, you order the products that you want, they get delivered to your door. Really straightforward. Number 2 is preferred client. Now, this is like having Amazon Prime. So this is where you pay annually, and it's £10 in the UK. If you want to know these prices in any other markets, just let your consultant know and they will tell you the prices. But in the UK, it's £10 a year to be a preferred client, and you get perks like discounts on your products, free shipping, free gifts. Absolutely amazing. I encourage all of my customers to pay the £10 if they're going to buy 2 or 3 products a year, and they absolutely love the perks. So that's great. Number 3 is our Replenish Me client. Now, this is our subscription program. Fantastic if you're going to regularly order products, like, for example, the fizz sticks. If you're like, well, I need fizz sticks every month or every 2 months, or if you like, I need the foundation every 3 months, or whatever you've got going on, you can become a Replenish Me client, and the perks there are free gifts in your boxes and free shipping, and you get £40 credits, vouchers every 3 orders, up to 3 a year. Was it 4 a year? 3 a year. Must be 3 a year. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, please. So that's the Replenish Me. Now, the last option, 4th and final option, which I think is the best, is the independent consultant option, because you get all of the products, of course, and if you talk about them, which you would anyway, wouldn't you? Like, if you were watching something fantastic on Netflix and you were like, oh my gosh, that was an hour of my time well spent, you would tell people. And that's what happens when you use these products. Like, for example, Arbonne just relaunched their hair care range. And what I love about Arbonne is they invent something, and then as soon as it's launched, they go back to the boardroom the next day and they're like, right, how do we make that better? And every like 3 or 4 years, everything's being reinvented. It's such an innovative company. And the only way I can describe it is it's like Apple technology. They launch an iPhone, and then the next day they're back in the boardroom going, right, what should we do to make it better for the next one? That's exactly what Arbonne are like. So they've just gone through the most innovative hair care you could ever imagine. I started using it. I literally can't stop touching my hair. I'm like, oh my gosh, my hair feels amazing. I absolutely love it. I feel like I have like royalty, celebrity standard hair. It's brilliant. So you get to use these products and you get to talk about them. And then if somebody says to you, wait a minute, how do I get involved with getting these products? Like, your skin is amazing. How can I access this skincare range? You give them your website link and they order these products and you get paid for it. You are the walking, talking advert. You are the walking, talking billboard. Not to mention the fact that all of the products that you want to get for yourself are then classed as a tax deductible expense, which is just absolutely phenomenal. And the perks, they just go on and on. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the commissions before I start to wrap up, and the perks. So when you start an Arbonne business, the cost of your website is normally £70, but there are times when it is on offer, and it is on offer this month, isn't it? Let me know in the chat. I think it is on. I'm pretty sure it is on offer this month. I'm quite sure it is, but normally it's £70. And as soon as you start, you get access to all the free training, mentorship, all the products at cost, and that's basically all the perks. Then, if you build your business to level 1, so I'm going to go through the 4 levels. There's only 4 levels in Arbonne. If you build your business to level 1, which is a district manager. So if anyone here has ever promoted to district manager, let us know in the chat. So district manager, it actually took me 4 months to promote to district manager, but for some people, they do it in like their first week. You get an 8% pay rise here, and you get the perks of the leadership perks. So you get added into leadership style training, leadership style mentorship. Um, Arbonne UK do like a district manager day. So you get really nice perks and recognition as well, which is always great, great recognition. So when I reached level one, my income here was about £500 a month. Now I know that probably doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it was a lot of money for us at the time, because it meant that I could phone tax credits, because when I'd left my business, when I'd left my work at Specsavers, I'd had to go on to benefits just to try and survive. So when we reached level one, my goal with this business was to ring tax credits and be like, thank you so much for supporting us, but we don't need it anymore. Give that money to somebody that actually really does need it. We were in a situation in our life where we obviously had the bailiffs knocking on the door, that, like I'd already said, and we were about £40,000 in debt. And that's not through living the life of Riley. That is just from trying to pay bills. So starting Arbonne for me was, right, how quick can I get to level one, earn £500 a month, ring tax credits, thank them for the money, and tell them I can support our family without your help. Thank you so much. So I was able to do that for 4 months, and that really was the most even to this day now, that was probably the most life-changing phone call I've ever had, to be able to say thank you, but I can support us now. Give that to somebody that actually really needs it. Really, it was amazing. It makes me emotional even thinking about it now. So level number 2 is area manager. Let me know in the chat if you've ever promoted to area manager. It took me 6 months to build to this level, and at this point you get paid 14% commission overrides. And what I love about area manager is your business becomes willable. So when I worked for the opticians, if anything had happened to me, I probably would have been lucky if the owner of that business sent like flowers to my funeral, and that would have been it. Definitely would not have supported my family financially, but Arbonne will your business that you've built. So for me, I was like, right, if I build this and anything happens to me, I know my husband and my 2 daughters at the time are going to receive that income every single week from Arbonne, hopefully until the rest of their lives, and then it's willed to their children if they have children, which would be my grandchildren, and then willed to them and willed to them, which is 6 generations deep. Like my great 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 grandchildren will never know me, but they'll receive this paycheck from this business, and they'll be like, our great 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 Danny, Granny Danny, never thought about that, Grandma Danny, who we've never met, we don't know, has this income that's just willed to us, this inheritance. So that for me was massive, absolutely massive. So that was area manager level. I carried on building to level 3, which is regional vice president level. If you've ever promoted to regional vice president level, let me know in the chat. So I did this within 11 months of starting. It's a 17% pay rise of your overrides. And at this point, Arbonne also give you a cash bonus towards a white Mercedes. So I literally waved goodbye to this banger, awful Fiesta and said hello to this incredible Mercedes car, like rolled onto the drive. And I've had a new Mercedes car every 3 years. So I think I'm on my 5th Mercedes car, which I love. I love driving around in a white Mercedes. I'm not a car person, but I just absolutely love driving around in it. And at this level, level 3, my income was about £5,000 a month. I think I forgot to say what it was at level 2. So my income at level 2 was about £2,000 a month. So at this point, level 3, I'm earning £5,000 a month, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. This is absolutely amazing. So what that meant for us as a family was we could actually start to think about buying our own house, because we just rented this tiny 2 up, 2 down, and we just rented that for like 11, 12 years and thought nothing of it. So because of this business, I was like, right, hang on a minute. We can start putting this money to one side and actually buy our dream house, and not just like scrape onto the property ladder with like our first home that's tiny, it's a dump. Like we can actually put this money to one side and get our dream home. And that's exactly what we did. So the house we live in now, if anyone's ever been to my house, it is absolutely my dream house, and everything about it I absolutely love. And people are like, how many houses did you have to buy on the property ladder to get this one? I'm like, this was our first house. And that is because of Arbonne. So because of this money building in my Arbonne business, the work and effort I was putting into, we bought our dream house, and we've been in it 5 years now. And I absolutely still walk around thinking, oh my gosh, this is thanks to Arbonne. So level number 4, there's only 4 levels in Arbonne. So if you've ever promoted to the top level, national vice president, let me know in the chat. It took me 4 years to build here. I was quite slow. Like it's been done in 6 months, but you know, each to their own. You're your own boss. You get to choose the speed in this business. At this point, you get paid 18% commission overrides. And at this point, you also unlock perks like going to Maui for you and a partner, or you and a friend, or you and a parent, or you and a child, whoever you want to take. It's all paid for to go to Maui and Hawaii. You get paid to go to Las Vegas every year. You get other perks of different trips that you can go for. At this point, I was earning no less than £10,000 a month. My highest paycheck was actually £25,000 a month in the peak of COVID when everybody was obsessed with nutrition. But it tended to be more like around 10, £12,000 a month. And what that meant for us was we actually could expand our family. So we had 2 children at the time, and we were just like, okay, that's that, you know, we've got 2 children, that's great. But because of this business, my husband actually said to me, look, things are great. He had left his job and started his own business working part-time. So he was like, I've got loads of time, you've got loads of time, money's great, we've got this amazing house. Why don't we have 2 more children? And I was like, yeah, like we've got all this love to give. And I can't even begin to tell you how priceless it is. If you want to expand your family, not everybody does, but if you want to and you feel like you can't because of time and money, this business gives you time and money. So the things that you want to do, like for us, expanding our family might not be that, might be something else. This enabled us to do just that. So I want you to have a think about the things that you really, really want, because what this business has done for me has been an absolute game changer. So very recently, my main adult in my life, which was my nan, so I don't have parents, so my main person was my nan, she fell ill and she had relentless appointments, and it was always at the drop of a hat. She was like, oh, she would like ring me and she would say, oh, I've got to go to this point, we've got to go to that, blah, blah, blah. Every time she rang me and said that she had needed to be in hospital, needed to go somewhere, I was like, yeah, absolutely fine. And I was able to, at the drop of a hat, do that. And I want you to have a think about, are you able to do that? Do you have the type of job that anytime a loved one says to you, I need you to be here, can you say yes? Because when I worked for Specsavers, and I loved that company, absolutely not. There's no way I'd have been able to keep saying to my boss, oh, by the way, my nan needs me. It was like 3, 4 times a week. No way. So because of this business, I was able to be at the drop of a hat to every single thing she needed. Unfortunately, she did go into hospital and she did pass away, but I was there at everything, towards the end, knowing she was going, I was there. And it really made me reflect on my 11 years in Arbonne. And I was thinking, when I was 28, I said yes to this business opportunity, scared, not thinking would know how to do it, not knowing anybody, basically living in hospital with my daughter. So I had no time, I had no money, I had no confidence, I had no skills. I don't even know why the girl told me about it, because I probably sounded like the worst person to be any good at this business. But actually, my 28-year-old self was like, do you know what? Let's go for it. If it's free training, let's try. Let's see what happens. And I am so grateful for that, because it meant that this year I was able to be totally present for my nan in her final chapter of her life. And I just want you to think about that. When you've got a loved one in the final chapter of their life, or they've got something going on, or a pet that's going to the vets, and you want to be there, and you don't want money to be in the way, especially at the vets when they're like, oh, by the way, it's going to cost 8 grand, and you pause and you go, oh my gosh, can I afford that? I want to be able to afford it. Can I afford? Like, what horrible position to be in. I know, because I've been there years ago thinking, oh gosh, I don't think we can afford that. Whereas now, anything that my pet needs, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. This is what this business does. Like, it's not really about selling products. Yes, we have products. Yes, the products are great, but really it's about giving yourself the opportunity to take the handcuffs off and be able to say yes, because you've got the money, you've got the time, you've got the confidence, you've got the network, you've got the supportive people in Arbonne around you, you've got the cheerleaders in Arbonne that are like, anything you want to do, you want to write a book, you go for it, you want to write a song, you go for it. Like, the people in Arbonne are the biggest cheerleaders. You cannot pay for the community that you get for free in Arbonne. Like, it's like a door to a whole new world that I wish I'd known about when I was much younger, because it would have made me a completely different teenager. So this business is life-changing. I'm telling you now, not just because it got me off benefits, it did. It changed my confidence. It changed everything about me as a person. I wake up and I'm happy all the time now. And I look back to myself pre-Arbonne, I was always miserable. I was diagnosed with depression, and I'm like, did I have depression, or was I just really unhappy? And I look back and I had no purpose. I had nothing to be passionate about. There was nothing to be excited about. This is for my life. Your life might be different, but for me, there was nothing going on. Now in Arbonne, I wake up and there's always something exciting happening. Always. Somebody in the team's hit a milestone and everyone in the WhatsApp's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Like they've got their first customer. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. And it goes off like fireworks. Everyone's like, well done, well done, well done, well done. And it doesn't affect you in any way, but you just are enveloped into that excitement. And it just, oh, it brings my soul to life. And if you're somebody that's listening to this and you're like, I want my soul to come to life as well. The money would be nice, having the time freedom would be nice, but I just want to feel alive every day, like there's a fire burning in me with passion and purpose, and to build something, this legacy for my great, 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 great grandchildren who I will never meet. And I want to be able to say yes if the vets ring me and say, I've got to pay £18,000 for an operation. Yes, okay, absolutely. Like if you are sick to freaking death of saying no to things, this is your answer. And I'm telling you now, you might not know how to do it. It's scary, but your consultant who you know is going to take your hand and they're going to show you the ropes. They're going to mentor you. They're going to be there for you. And the community is going to hug you in and show you everything. And I promise you now, you will not regret it. In my 11 years in Arbonne, I have not met a single person that said, oh my gosh, I regret doing Arbonne. Not a single soul. This is the best thing. This is the best gig. More people need to know about this. You need to join so you can tell more people, because it is the most incredible thing to be a part of. So that is me over and out. I told you I couldn't do it in 3 minutes. I don't know how my friend did it. I wish I knew, but I hope that I've inspired you to say, oh my gosh, what am I waiting for? Let's get started. And I look forward to seeing you being welcomed into the WhatsApp and being here for anybody that starts as part of the community. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.